I think something that was really powerful and important for parents was you talked about kind of like what to say before the game, and you have the 3 levels of athletes. And so it sounded like for the starter, you worked hard all week, you got this. What about for the kid who's on the bench, the 6th, player in a basketball scenario?
On the bench, you can be involved in the team. So if they see their value, they just want to, people just want to be valued in the job that they do, right? Yeah. So when you're on a team, you have a job, right? And just want to be valued. You have these conversations with them about why the bench is important, why you can have an impact in the game and never even go in the game. So
I'm so glad we're having this conversation. I've always wondered what to say in those scenarios also.
Welcome to the Positively Healthy Mom podcast, where positive parenting meets well-being.
Hello, and welcome to the Positively Healthy Mom podcast. I'm your host, Laura Ollinger, teen and parent wellbeing coach and founder of Positively Healthy Coaching. I am extremely excited to introduce you to someone that you actually may already be familiar with. You just don't even know it because you might be following him on Instagram. This is Coach Riley of 6 a.m. Practice on Instagram. And you, Coach Riley, have a huge following. I've been following you for years. And thank you so much for accepting my invitation to come on my show. So welcome.
Well, thank you for having me on the show. And let me tell you, that's the best intro I've ever had. I'm so jacked right now. Everything I worked for, it paid off finally.
I know. Well, it's working because I've been following you. I found you and I was so excited that you agreed to come on the show. So that's where we're going to start. How did 6 a.m. practice start? What is the purpose of it and what's your mission behind it?
So the whole 6 a.m. practice came about in a weird way, right?
Okay.
And so my son was in junior high and he was going to start playing basketball. So we wanted to start going to the gym in the morning. So we went to this local club that's got a gym and we go at 6 a.m. So we're going in the mornings and he's hustling and we're just doing stuff. And during that time, I discovered YouTube. I didn't watch YouTube. I was like, what, YouTube, schmootube, whatever. Right? I mean, I don't know. This was 9 years ago and I'm always behind the curve when it comes to the next thing, right?
You're a slow to adopt new technology.
Facebook, I'm like, everybody I know lives around me. I don't need Facebook. And then YouTube was just Vines and stuff. So I didn't really see a purpose in it.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And so I discovered Eric Thomas, the hip hop preacher, right, with a YouTube video. And and I'm like, this is the stuff that's on YouTube? Hold up. So I discovered the world of motivational videos, which my son would watch as we went to, I'd pull some up on the phone and he'd watch them as we drove to the gym in the morning. Cut to summertime. He's at a summer camp and him and his best friend, they're on opposite teams and they're the 2 best players in the school, right? They're at the school camp. And camp championship, they're guarding each other. And my son makes the buzzer beater, deep 3, blah, 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 blah. Right. And so I'm there, I'm watching it. I'm the only dad there. I thought it was a big game, right? I show up, there's no other parents there. It's just me and the coaches in the campus, but I'm like, I'll watch it. Right.
You kind of busted in. Parents aren't even invited, but you want to.
Well, they were like, he's like, I got the championship game today. I'm like, well, you always go to the championship game. That's what it is. Right. So luckily I went so he makes the shot. Next day I go to work and I'm talking to this guy that I know, and he's a hockey coach and he's a hockey dad. He's all in, right? And so I'm telling him the story of what happened at the basketball game. And he knew me and Eric had been going to the gym because I talk sports with him and stuff. And so he goes, well, you know why he made that shot? And I go, why? And he goes, 6 a.m. practice. And I think to myself, in my head, I go, that's a brand. Hold up, okay. And then I go, what do you mean? And he goes, well, in the hockey world, 6 a.m. practice is a common thing. That's when people get up and do the extra practices and stuff like that. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I started thinking about it, started looking on Instagram, saw a bunch of motivational posts, and it was all like Wayne Gretzky, 100% of the shots you don't take, you miss, right? Just the same old, same old. And I'm like, well, I could come up with something better than that. Because what I realized was that at that time, and this was it's only gotten worse, but at the time it was 6, 7 years ago, the hustle culture was huge. Grind 24/7, all this other stuff, right? And the kids, they're just taking that literally. But they don't know what to do, right?
Yeah.
It's they're got to grind 24/7. What does that even mean? Right? It
Yeah.
doesn't mean there's no systems, it's just stuff. And I'm a process guy. Like I like systems, like because they're repeatable and you get, A plus B equals C every time if you do this and the outcome is known. So I was like, well, what these kids really need is not to be told to work harder, but how to work and what to work on,
Okay.
because that really just wasn't out there. So I started looking at things that student athletes would deal with. So schoolwork's a big one. Sleep is a big one because of the
Yeah.
gamers, right? They stay
Yeah.
up all night on their phones, they play whatever, right?
Mhm.
Sleep, nutrition,
Yes.
because they're grabbing fast food and just whatever's convenient. And, just the basic stuff, right? That
Right.
every parent struggles with.
Hmm.
And so you look at, there are certain types of athletes, right? There are athletes that want to make it to the next level, whatever that is,
Hmm.
D3 in college, a JUCO, whatever it is. They just want to play at the next level. Maybe it's they're going from JV to varsity or whatever. There's those guys. And then there's guys that just play the sport to be on the team.
Right.
They're there. They get to leave school early. Like they're pretty good, but they don't have
Yeah.
any intention of going pro or anything like that, right?
Right.
They're just there for the fun of it, right?
Yeah.
But they're good, but they're skilled, they're athletes, right? So there really wasn't a path for any of these kids, no matter what it was, right? And
Hmm.
a lot of the kids who were just in it to be in it, right, for high school and stuff like that, it was almost like they were made to feel like, well, you're not doing it all the time. You're not trying to take it to the next level. You're not as
Yeah.
good, right? And the influx of social media on kids is crazy insane. It's crazy. It used to be parents were, back in the good old day, kids would be at school for a third of the day, they'd be at home a third of the day, and they'd be asleep a third of the day. So parents had somewhat of more of an influence on the kids. Well,
Hmm.
now with social media, it's the parents get a very little piece of the window, very
Right.
little, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Doesn't matter if your kid's in sports or not in sports.
Yeah.
So all my boys are grown up now. And during those times of when they were in high school and we were playing all these sports, there was a lot of stress because, you got to get to practices, you got to do this, you got to do that. You can't do everything. Like there's just all this stuff that, they want to go to extra camp. So that's a financial thing, just
Yeah.
other stuff like that. And a lot of parents are like, you know, these camps. So two things. Are camps necessary? I don't know. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. Like, I'm not
Hmm.
here to say that they are. But a
Hmm.
lot of kids want to go to the camps just because their friends are going to the camps and the kids
Yeah.
on the team are going to the camps. So it's more of a social thing than like, I want to go get better type thing.
Yeah.
So parents got to see it as that. So there's all these crazy things that parents don't really know about. And, yes, we're the adults, but this is our first time raising an athlete or having
Yeah.
a kid because athletics is no longer cheap. There's a financial
Oh man.
contribution to it, right?
Absolutely.
And so, with this and that and all this other stuff, I'm like, there needs to be like a medium of where, because kids are going to be on social media. And
Hmm.
like I said, I'm 51. Guys and, people my age, we're on social media too. We grew up with half of our lives with absolutely no internet and
Yeah.
the other half with internet. I've had
That's
25
true.
years without, 25 years with, right?
I never thought of that way, but yes, very
So
true.
I know the best of both worlds, right?
Hmm.
And so you're not going to get your kids away from social media. You're just not. So what do they consume while they're on there? I
Hmm.
wanted to have a platform and have a voice that would give kids actionable things that they could do. Basically, all the stuff the parents want to tell their kids because
Yeah.
kids don't listen to you. They
Right.
don't
It
listen
has.
to you.
Right.
It has to come from somebody else, right? So
Yeah.
who's the number one person in most kids' life if they play sport? Well, it's coach.
Yeah.
Coach says stop drinking soda. He's throwing everybody's sodas out. You
Yeah.
tell him to stop drinking soda, he doubles down, right?
Right.
That's how it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to become, and at 6 a.m. practice, our goal overall is we're the bridge between the parent's heart and the athlete's brain.
Mm.
We basically tell the kids what they want to know and the advice that they need in a non-condescending way. We're not talking down to them,
Mm-hmm.
right? But it's the message coming from the parents, right? So,
Yeah.
like posts that I do about sleep always get shared because sleep is an issue and kids don't think I could run on 4 hours of sleep. I don't need 8 hours of sleep. Yes, you can run on 4 hours of sleep. It's not healthy over an extended period of time. And if you want to be an athlete, kid, the easiest thing you can do to improve your performance is get your sleep on lockdown. Get eight
Yeah.
hours a day. That's the easiest quick. You have total control. You have everything, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Next is food. I got picky eaters. I don't got picky eaters. They eat garbage, this, that, this, that. Well, mom, I can play eating McDonald's or whatever. Yeah, you can. No, you shouldn't. And then here's why. Because if
Mm.
they don't have buy-in, they're not doing it.
Right.
And I didn't know what I didn't know. And I played sports when I was growing up, but I still didn't know a lot of stuff because, again, this is our first time raising an athlete.
Yeah.
So I started asking parents, what do they have problems with? And it's always the tip, food, nutrition, sleep, grades, um, phone time. They're not holding up their end of the deal, right? Just stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I started looking at how can how can how can the parent talk to the kid in a way that the kid does what the kid needs to do, not what the
Mm-hmm.
parent wants him to do, but what he needs to do,
Yeah.
right? And so that's been basically the genesis of 6 a.m. is
Mm-hmm.
to have those conversations with your kids. So sports is a very short period in your life because
Mm-hmm.
let's just say, listen, great in junior high, great in high school, gonna go play college. You're probably not going to the games, parents. You're not taking them to practices. Your part, maybe they're televised, you can stream them or whatever, but
Mm-hmm.
your part in the athlete's world is gone. It's over with,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you really want to enjoy the 6 to 4 years, right? Junior high, and if they start early in elementary school or whatever, but
Mm-hmm.
you probably have a 6 to 4 years of a time where even if they never play ball outside of high school, you will have a treasure trove of great memories and fun times,
Mm-hmm.
or a treasure trove of arguments and, not knowing what to say after the game or before the game and all of this stuff. Because again, there's a high level of stress when it comes to sports. And I'm not even talking comp, leagues, or any of that other stuff. I'm just talking a basic flat line. Your kid plays in high school, there's a cost to it. There's a
Yeah.
cost to it, right? And so to make parents and athletes a team again, right?
Uh,
Families used to be a teams when the kids are younger, right? You're a team, it's a cohesive unit. Everybody gets along for the same thing. And then as they grow up and they get older, they become teens. And that's the way it is, right? You're not going to stop that. But there's a way to communicate to them that it's a little different. For example, um, like before a game, right? Kid has a game. What do parents usually say? Oh, you're going to play, what are you going to do today? You're either asking them questions, right? Like, are
mm-hmm.
you ready? Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to hear questions.
Yeah.
They got other things they're worried about. But different kids worry about different things. So if your kid's a starter, he worries about letting everybody down,
Mm-hmm.
letting the team down. Will he perform at a high level, right? He's got that level of stress, right?
Yeah.
If your kid is the sixth man, right, or comes off the bench, but fairly often he's in every game, right?
Mm-hmm.
They count on him because teams got to have a bench. If you're on the bench, listen, you can still contribute to that team in ways you're never going to know. And you just got to
Mm.
do it, right? You just got
Yeah.
to do it. Um, so there's all these things about what even if the parents see, this is somewhat emotional, I know, for a lot of people,
Yeah.
because there are a lot of arguing with your kid isn't fun. And they're
No.
just dumb arguments, right? You don't got your cleats, right? You didn't get the playbook. You forgot to tell me practice change times, right? But again, they're kids. Sports now is so grown up. They're like mini adults, right? There's all these things, NIL money, this, that, all this other stuff is so serious.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you talk to your kids so they hear you, right? So
Mm-hmm.
if they're a starter, they have these expectations. If they're coming off the bench, they have a different set of worries.
Mm-hmm.
If they're the kid who almost never gets put in the game except for the pity minutes, right?
Yeah.
They're thinking like, does it even matter that I'm here? Like I don't
Yeah.
even play, right?
Yeah.
So you can't say the same generic thing to a kid before a game. You got to look at where are they at, right?
Yeah.
And so and then you don't ask them questions. You just say something specific. So the high performer, you're like, listen, you worked hard all week, trust in the process. You got this. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the conversation, right? There's no eye rolling. Kid gets a little hyped. Okay. That knuckle bump with dad or mom or whatever, right? Boom, connection, right? So
Mm-hmm.
now that I'm getting goosebumps, now the day is in a positive, because you've all had game days where they didn't get up on time, rah, rah, rah. And now there's a lot of tension in the house. And it's just like, listen, these memories are so fleeting. We want to have as many good ones as we can.
Yeah.
So, how do parents talk to the kids? How do they get them to do the stuff they want to do? And again, the parent's heart is always in the right spot.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to know how to communicate with the athlete's brain,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if you tie nutrition into not, listen, you're supposed to get your protein or it gives you energy, like you're just parroting what everybody says.
Yeah.
If you tell them how, hey, I noticed you were tired after that other game or that other practice.
Mm-hmm.
What did you have to eat? And then as the parent, you had fast food. So I'll make you a deal. We're going to put together, you can call it like the performance pantry, right? And I want you to pick one thing that is, and whether it's, nuts or whatever, something, but it has to be healthy-ish, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then as the parent, you have to make that available for them as easy as possible, because we're creatures and I'm just as bad. If I can grab something that's prepackaged, pre-made versus mixing something up, that mixing up is going to take me 3 minutes.
Yeah.
I
Still
don't
not
do it.
happening. Yes.
I don't do
Or
it.
if you have to wash something or cut
I'm
it or yes. Yeah.
right. We're creatures of, simplicity, right? So as the parent, you have to set up the household for those successes. So now you're no longer nagging your kid, telling them what to do. You're saying, look, dude, you want to be an athlete? This does this and this does that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Show them the proof, lead them down the way, and then they're going to decide or they're not going to decide.
Yeah.
But there's no more argument. It's not do it because I said, do it because listen, kid, just trust me, just do it. They're not going to.
No.
They have to realize the benefit to them. And the benefit to them is being a better athlete. So maybe get more playing time. Maybe you impress that person you're trying to impress. Maybe whatever, you get in the game more often. If they're willing to do that, that's what I was talking about, the athletes who want to play at the next level. If they're willing to do that stuff, you've shown them the way. And you've communicated in a way that is non-judgmental, right? You're the guide. So we at 6 a.m., the parents and the athletes, you guys are the heroes. That every story is your own story, right?
Mm-hmm.
My job is to just be the guide and
Yeah.
just say, look, like, so for example, another example is, what do you say after the game? Right? That's such a hot topic. Like, I love watching you play. What if they didn't play? What if you can't script that stuff, right? You have to look at, so athletes will view the game usually in ways of one or two ways. We either won or we lost.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's it. If you're won, everybody's happy. If you lost, everybody's sad or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But which is fine. But if you're a parent and you want to communicate with your athlete after the game, because listen, I'm a firm believer that parents are more than an ATM and a chauffeur.
I completely agree.
And that's what we've been relegated to.
Yeah.
Pay all the fees,
Yeah.
get your kids to the games and practice, sit in the stand, don't coach your kid, don't do whatever, blah blah. And listen, parents do desperately contribute to the current status of the game. There's a lot of stuff gets out of control real quick, right? And here's the reason for that, I believe, is if you think that this sport is your kid's way out, right? Like he wants to play D1. You just want your kid to go to college,
Yeah.
right? You just want him to go to college. College is so expensive nowadays. It's so crazy expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a whole nother topic. But if they're just trying to get to the next level and sports is the only way, versus somebody who's just playing sports and they know their kid's not going to be professional and they know whatever, to them it's sports, and what are they going to learn afterwards? So the parents that see it as a personal thing,
Mm-hmm.
those are the ones that take it a little too far when it comes to yelling at coaches, yelling at the referees, right?
Yeah.
Because if you ain't ever reffed a game, please, it is so hard. You don't even know.
Oh my gosh.
Listen,
You
every
cannot
parent,
pay me enough money.
you have no clue. Even if it was a totally positive atmosphere
Yeah.
and you got paid like $1,000 a game or whatever,
Yeah.
it's so hard. Are you looking in the right? Because we assume that refs have instant replay and they see things in slow motion and they always have the angles. Man,
Yeah.
if you're a ref and all of a sudden you look at something over here and then you turn around and something happened and you didn't call it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't see it or whatever. Right. So
Crazy. Yeah.
that's a whole nother thing. But
Well, Coach, I would love to
yeah.
go back a little bit because I'm tracking multiple themes that we've got going on here. And I think
Yep.
I think something that was really powerful and important for parents was you talked about kind of like what to say before the game, and you have the 3 levels of athletes. And
Mhm.
so it sounded like for the starter, you worked hard all week, you got this. What about for the kid who's on the bench, the 6th, player in a basketball scenario? My kids are football players, so
Mhm.
I know that terminology better. And then, or the kid who doesn't play at all or doesn't play much. Like, what did you say both before and after the game to those 3 levels of athletes?
So before the game, so the kid who like comes in off the bench and stuff like that, you just they have to see their importance as a player's being on the bench.
Yeah.
So you got to be like, listen, man, when you're on the bench, you're in the game. That's how you're in the game without being in the game, right? You're hyping the bench up. You're talking to each other. You're paying attention. You can shout things out. Again, different sports. I talk basketball because that's what I know.
Yeah.
But on the bench, you can be involved in the team, or you can be sitting back, disgusted that I'm on the bench or whatever, right? So if they see their value, they just want to, people just want to be valued in the job that they do, right?
Yeah.
So when you're on a team, you have a job, right? And you just want to be valued. Even if you know you're not very good or you're not going to get a lot of playing time. So you have these conversations with them about why the bench is important, why you can have an impact in the game and never even go in the game. Right? Because attitude is contagious, right? When a team is humming, when a team is in line, they're unstoppable. You can't be in line if you got guys on the bench with bad attitudes, right? So you help them win. You participate in practice. So maybe you're second string or whatever, right? Well, that's who the first string practices against. That's like Rudy. That's one of my favorite movies, right?
Oh, yes. Classic.
the practice squad is what gets the team in ready for the thing. And if we don't do our jobs, they're not ready to play Purdue or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
right? That
Mm-hmm.
it's all like every athlete should watch Rudy. I love Rudy. Such a great movie. Such a great
Oh
movie.
yeah. Oh yeah. I remember watching that when I was little, and then my kids have seen it. It's just, oh
It's great.
yes.
That's great. And then for the kid who doesn't even get in the game, well,
Yeah.
their goals are set outside of practice. And again, so like you have, for them, you have to set smaller daily goals. Everybody should have daily goals anyway. Right.
Mm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so and if you have a game, I have what I call goals within the game, right? So if you're on a team, and so this is what you say after the game, right? So after the game, it's not win or lose, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
what if they lost, but they played spectacular,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Or what if they won and they played horrible? They had the
Yeah.
worst game of their life, right? So
I'm so glad we're having this conversation. I've always wondered like what to say in those scenarios also.
that's a different thing, right?
Yeah.
So you have to be okay. So you have goals within the game, right? So this game, I'm going to have 3 assists and 2 steals and 5 points or whatever it is, right? Or I'm going to get two 50-50 balls or whatever it is, right? You set
Mm-hmm.
goals for yourself inside the game because you can't always control the outcome. Your
Right.
entire team can be on fire and playing. I said earlier, you're unstoppable, but sometimes you get stopped because the
Yeah.
other team is just a little bit better.
Yeah.
Right. And it doesn't matter. You did everything the best that you could, and you still lost. Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you have goals within the game. Right. And then you just talk about, you say, hey man, like if they're on the bench all the time, you're like, I saw you when they had that timeout, you were the first man in the huddle. Dude, your time is coming. Because if you really want to be on a team and you
Mm-hmm.
want to get better, you will
Mm-hmm.
do the things that you need to do to get better.
Yeah.
And you just got to put in the time, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So everybody, I got to make varsity. I got to do this. No, you need to be where you need to be to get playing time. I
Mm-hmm.
believe it's better to be on JV if you
Yeah.
get to play the whole game than if you're on varsity and you get no time or 2 minutes or something like that. You're
Mm-hmm.
not, the game is where you really learn stuff and play. I mean, that's the purpose of the whole sport is the game, right?
Yeah.
But that's not where it all happens. It's just so you got all this stuff and there's all these dynamics and stuff. And so after the game, maybe they fouled out or maybe they made a big mistake and their game just went downhill after that, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't look at the win or loss, you look at what had happened to them in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So if they made a mistake and they spiraled out, right, which is common, right? One mistake and you're kaput.
Yeah.
You talk to them about, how do you reset in the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because all athletes make mistakes. Every single athlete makes mistakes. The better ones just reset faster. That's all that
Mm-hmm.
is. If you
Yeah.
think you're not going to make a mistake and you're worried about making a mistake, you're going to make a big, big mistake, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just part of the game, right? Reset
Mm-hmm.
faster, stuff like that. So you as a parent, you want to be able to talk to them about these things, but the kid needs to see the family as a team.
Yes.
Family is first team,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't care who you are, what sport you play. It doesn't matter. You don't do what you do without a team.
Right.
Even in individual sports, tennis, golf, whatever. No, you got a team around you that helps you out and do things, right? So when you have that dynamic set up,
Mm-hmm.
right, then you can have these little conversations with your kid about positive things and not after the game, they stunk or they didn't do really well or whatever. And it's like, well, it's just a game. Don't worry about it. Right. Almost nobody thinks on those terms.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Don't worry about it. What are you talking about, man? Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
No one's this, that. They've got all these things going on there. And what may be related to the game may not even be really related to the game. Maybe somebody was making fun of them at school because they weren't getting playing time. Or I don't know, they're trying to impress a girl because the girl likes the other dude and the other dude plays more or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's always something deeper, right?
That's what we call, it's funny because you do for parents and teens in sports what I do for parents and teens in the rest of their life. So
Exactly.
everything that you're saying totally vibes with me so well. And I call that dismissing or invalidating. So if they say, oh, I think I flunked my math test, and a mom or dad says, oh, you probably did fine. Oh, it's no big deal. Or, oh, I bet you're being too hard on yourself. Well, you're dismissing and invalidating what they just said and what their concern is. Their concern is that they don't think they did well, right? And so this is like in the sports context. And so if they didn't do well in a game, like I can just imagine, because I know a lot of the parents that I've worked with in the past, like as far as clients, where a parent might be well-intentioned. They're trying to support, they're trying to give advice, they're trying to cheer them up, they're trying to make them, whatever it is, like you said earlier, coming from a good place. Yet I can see this scenario playing out in so many ways where then the teenager feels attacked, they feel criticized, they feel invalidated. And what I love what you're saying is about your family has to be the team, because your teenager needs to know that you're on their side. And I think that's where the disconnect happens, because when a teenager is disappointed in themselves, a lot of times they're worried about disappointing their parent. And so then it feels even worse. Like they'd rather just be disappointed by themselves and not have to, like, insult to injury is when the parent is
Right.
also disappointed. And then maybe the coach and the teammates are disappointed, right? It's just so much. So yeah, how do you support and like find a way to give some positivity and encouragement if your child did play really badly? Let's just say they had a terrible game. Like, what do you say in that situation?
So then you just turn it into a positive, right? Which is okay. So there's a term and it's kind of okay, but it's like, you don't lose, you learn, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you might have a bad game. And listen, you're going to be in a slump. It's going to happen. You're
Yeah.
going to, for whatever reason, you're going to play horrible. Like,
Mm-hmm.
let's not act like that's not going to happen. If you play enough games, you're going to have a bad one or two, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or you get in a slump, right? Okay. So it's a slump. You got to play through it, right? You had a bad game. Okay, what did we learn? What did you learn, right? Because so
Yeah.
what you have to set them up in these things where it's like, um I d- journaling, right? So you can either do um game journaling or you can do practice and game journaling, right?
Okay.
So like game journaling is just after the game or after a practice
Mm-hmm.
within, I don't know, as soon as possible, right? It doesn't have to be immediate, right? But like within the next, 15 minutes or so, have key things that you write down at what happened at practice, right? Did I run out of energy? Did I give 100% today? What, like, habits, right? Did I do all these habits? And, did I listen to coach? When was I locked in with coach or whatever when they were talking? And so after the game or after a practice, if you don't write stuff down, your brain will lie to you. You'll think about it later on and you'll be like,
Yeah.
that's not the way it happened. Like, this is the
Yeah.
way I remember it. Right.
Right.
And so if you're serious about playing sports, right, and want to get better, just, whatever, you have to review what you do. And so if they have a post game routine where they review themselves, right? They say, and they be honest, right? I mean, it's painful to be honest, but
Yeah.
like if you're an athlete,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, you write those things down. And so writing them down, like, it gets it off your chest. I acknowledge it. Okay. What am I going to do this week or next week to make sure this doesn't happen again? Because it's
Mm-hmm.
usually just a behavioral issue. Sometimes I
Mm-hmm.
decided to skip breakfast today. I just
Mm-hmm.
ran out of energy or whatever it was, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now when they play a bad game, there's already something that's set up for them that they're already doing,
Mm-hmm.
right? And as the parent, they're always like, don't be a second coach, don't do this, don't do that, which
Mm-hmm.
is that's why if you establish the family team,
Mm-hmm.
the adult's role is to do a few things, right? Get them to practice, pay for fees, uh, do the shopping, like the athletic meals or whatever it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Brothers and sisters have a role, right? So even if those kids don't play sports or they're younger, they got a role, like, because we got to leave on time. So it's your job to do whatever. So everybody feels important, everybody has a role. The common goal is whatever it is, right? Billy playing football or ice skating or whatever it is, right? And so then when the family pulls together, those moments of playing bad, having a horrible game, they don't hurt as much because your team is there to support you. And even if you guys aren't talking about it, and you don't have to have a deep down, like, in all honesty, when you got to have a conversation with your kid, it's usually when something's gone wrong.
Yeah.
Right? Like they did something bad. They, whatever, right? We need to have a conversation, son. Like that ain't never good.
I'm going to pause my conversation with Coach Riley right here because we still have so much more to talk about. So stay tuned for next week for the conclusion of this episode.